If I were to ask ordinary citizens or politicians, Filipinos 60 years ago, what is the greatest threat to our country, they would say the USSR or communism. But if I were to ask today, they would say China. And they are correct. China is a strong country and rich country. China has none of this wealth decades ago, and decades ago, China is an evidence that capitalism works over socialism and communism. China is an ambitious country. Its ambition is to conquer. And of course, they can't expand their territory because there would be international backlash. And of course, the United States. But there is just another way China can conquer countries without any sort of backlash or much resistance compared to occupying a country. It is economic conquest. China is doing it right now here in the Philippines and many other different countries, especially in Africa or in the Pacific Islands. They would simply lend them beautiful and attractive loans that decades later figure out that they can pay back, so they would be forced to give China their natural resources or other resources which are much more beneficial to China than having that loan being paid back. And it's not just that. Let's talk about the Chinese companies. There are a lot of Chinese-based companies here in our country, the Philippines, like Huawei and many other companies. And of course, we benefit from them. They are cheap, they are reliable, and that's because it's manufactured in China. And that's why it's cheap. It's manufactured in China. And when China manufactures products, it comes from cheap labor. They aren't paying their people very well. Many of them starve, and some of them even resort to suicide. So cheap products attracts people. When it attracts people, companies get very, very rich. And when they get very rich, they get very powerful. And guess who's also getting powerful? The Chinese Communist Party. There are a lot of laws in China that let these companies, that let these Chinese communist members control these wonderful companies. And when they don't do what they want, then the government would take away the company. That's why we shouldn't be dealing with these Chinese companies, because you'd be helping an authoritarian regime that controls people.